There we go. And oh my word, it's an early Saturday morning for me. And guys, if you are joining us, thank you very much for joining. You are joining the weekly recap show for Battlefield Clan Wars. And this morning we have Slash with us. Slash, what's up?
Yeah, lekker man. I've got my coffee. For once, it doesn't feel that early. Even though I must say I only woke up 30 minutes ago.
You're a quick waker.
Lekker. It's that coffee. It's that coffee. I had to make it this morning.
Oh, yeah, okay, well, that'll help, right? I mean, if it's brought to you, then normally it feels like you still have to get started, right? But if you have to make it yourself, you sort of started by making it.
For sure.
Interesting. Of course, we will not be joined by Scully Rebel this morning. He is in transit at the moment, so he apologizes from his side for not joining, but I'm sure he will be back with us in the week during the stream. And of course, talking about streams, Slash, we had an interesting and pretty nice game actually to watch this week. We had the privilege of spectating the Gig versus SNLV game, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail later, but I really enjoyed watching that game.
Yeah, no, it was a good game to watch and to be part of.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk about that as well. I see that there was a couple of other streams that happened this week as well. I mean, again, guys, thank you very much for the guys who are, sort of streaming and getting the games out there and that sort of thing. And again, I would like to make the request that if there are people out there that do want to stream or do want to get into streaming or find out how it works and that sort of thing, you are more than welcome to hit me up during the week. I always like sort of helping people out with that sort of stuff. And we're trying to get as many games out there as possible. We also this week had a couple of one or two new official streamers to our channel as well, so you'll see them coming through from probably next week or so. There will be some other people streaming onto the Battle Bros channel also. So I mean that's going relatively well. I think here in season 3 we are finally getting some stream teams or complete stream teams going. I think we did very well in season 1 and 2, but I think there are some people that are really getting into the streaming thing and how it works and that sort of thing. I don't know, Slash, what your view is?
Yeah, it's what did they say online? Where's my captain with it? Yeah, it's lucky to see more and more people getting into it. I think it's a fun thing to do and get involved in that game, and also making your name out there. Plus, giving some airtime to the guys playing. I think they appreciate it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, of course, a lot of these guys, I think we're getting into a nice space now with Battlefield 5 coming up. It's taken us a complete game, and it's taken us now pretty much 2 years, hasn't it? To sort of bed down, the way that we play and the clans and that sort of thing, right? And there are clans that started off and, I think they initially thought that, let's just do a fun thing and we're not going to be that serious about it, and then, sort of became serious about it, right? I mean, I saw earlier in the week that Vandango there was posting some videos about the monkeys and, where the monkeys came from and that sort of thing. And it was quite nostalgic for me to watch, sort of where these guys came from, as just mentioning one. I mean, there's obviously quite a number of clans that did exactly the same thing. But I mean, if you take the monkeys for example, they were formed, in Battlefield 1 as a Battlefield 1 clan, and now surely will continue into Battlefield 5. So it was nice, and like I said, a little bit nostalgic to watch those, first and sort of older videos. And with some of these clans, we come a long way, right? I mean, NDK, Mad, all those sort of guys that were there from the beginning. There's a couple of other clans that were also there in the beginning that I'm sure will be back in Battlefield 5 that, either took some time off in Battlefield 1 or didn't have enough players. I mean, there's quite a number of old clans out there. So, it's nice to see, right? It's nice to see not only how the clans are growing and how the call it competitive side of the game is growing, but also, you know, just from a community perspective, to see how the community grows. And obviously from a streaming perspective, for me personally, I enjoy to see all these new streamers coming on board and, you know, trying their thing and seeing whether they like to stream the games or not. So I mean, that for me is really good.
Yeah, it is nice to see the old clans sticking around and partaking in the seasons, and hopefully some of those who are sitting out a bit, waiting for Battlefield 5, will get on board again and not just play PUBG, but get into the gaming side of things again.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we can only hope that Battlefield 5 will not be broken that badly from day one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So two things just about what you said just now, Slash. I know I heard you say there was someone on the stream, Devalt, asking where's my Captain Riplets. So Riplet was going to join us this morning, but he's at breakfast at the moment, as I understand. So, you know, we wish him good luck with that. Breakfast on a Saturday morning is always nice. But Riplets will be joining us probably, well, I think next week for next week's show. So we'll see if that happens, or if he puts breakfast in front of the recap show.
Yeah.
We'll see. And then, of course, the other thing that you mentioned is the you know, that we hope Battlefield 5 is not broken, and that of course leads me on to this week we had a server issue again. So
Yeah.
I mean, that was, and I don't know why, but on a Thursday night, it is a very popular night to play on a Thursday night, right? And a lot of the guys play their league games on a Thursday night, and you know, as Murphy would have it, we had the server issue on Thursday night. Now, fortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately, fortunately, not everyone was affected. There was quite a number of games that did actually happen, but there was also a couple of games that had to be rescheduled, right, because of that server issue, and we'll get on to, you know, who those games are as well in a little bit when we talk about the tables and, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, there was that server issue as well, Slash.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I definitely put my foot into it when I made a comment on Discord about a week ago to say, you know what, let's just grind our teeth a bit. But normally this doesn't happen too often.
Yeah.
And, it seems like for whatever reason we've had now a couple of these outages, which doesn't help the gaming. The gaming scene, but I think everybody understands, you know, it's one of those things that can happen, so we've got to live with it and just move on, book our time again and try and get it in.
Absolutely. Look, obviously, if like I said, you know, luckily this week not everyone was affected. I think there was only about four games that were affected by it from all three divisions. So you know, that's a little bit better. I mean, last week there was a lot of people affected by it. This week, you know, obviously less. But you know, irrespective, I mean, from that perspective, I want to, you know, sort of congratulate and thank the community, because you know, those games, for example, last week that weren't played, you know, all of them were rescheduled and played, right? I mean, so that the tables keep ticking over. People, you know, keep playing the games, getting the points. From an admin perspective, obviously it's a little bit of work because we have to keep track of, you know, who's playing and who's not playing and who played already, and you know, what games actually happened, and you know, which ones had to be postponed or rescheduled or whatever may be the case. So from an admin perspective, I mean, it's a little bit of a nightmare, but you know, we do what we do, right? and we keep the clock ticking over.
Yeah, no, I think definitely congrats and thanks to everybody. I think it's not the easiest, you know, as you say, only 4 teams, but it could have been worse. And then you still have T5s and, you know, the conquest games to play in our Premier League. So it becomes tough when you've got games from the previous week that still needs to be played in the new week and get all you guys together. So, yeah, kudos and hats off to everybody.
Yeah.
Just you know, running through it and making it happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I wanted to also just touch on. I saw some question this week about the weapons list again. So, guys, we did go into it in a lot of detail last week during the recap show. So, if you did not see that, call it complete explanation, if you want to call it that, then please do yourself a favor and just go and click on the link for last week's recap show. That was the recap show for week 1. Of course, this is the recap show week 2. There's an extensive weapon list available on the website now as well. It's under the new section, under the menu item called Clan Wars. And it is a comprehensive list of all allowed and disallowed and DLC weapons. So please go and check that. There was one or two incidents during the week of games that were played where again there were teams that either forfeited a map or potentially lost the game because of using the wrong weapon or using a DLC weapon or something like that. So it is season 3. And the thing is, I always think by myself, when we started in season 1, I thought to myself, okay, this is going to be a little bit of an exercise for these guys to get used to what is allowed and what is not allowed. And season 1 went fairly well. Then we got to season 2 and I thought, well, this is now not going to be a problem because you played the entire season 1, so you are definitely you know the weapons that should be allowed and disallowed and that sort of thing, right? But of course then in season 2 we changed the game mode to rush. So that added some additional elements which we didn't have in season 1, right? And then we got to season 3 and I thought to myself, well, definitely now, nobody's going to play with an illegal weapon because now they've gone through one season, they've gone through another season with a different game mode. Surely in season 3 there won't be any people that don't know what to play with, right? And of course that's not the case. So there are still guys that should familiarize themselves with the weapons. And of course I then only realized that what happens is that yes, we have a lot of the same clans during season 1, season 2 and season 3, but besides the clans that are there's new clans coming on board all the time, and within the older clans there's new people joining those older clans all the time. And of course that just means that it might be the first time that somebody plays for that clan and might not be familiar with the weapons and what is allowed and disallowed from a DLC perspective. So guys, the weapon list is there. It is really from my point of view a silly mistake to make in terms of letting your team forfeit a map or even lose a match because of using an incorrect weapon. So I think just familiarize yourself with that, and I think it will be okay. Slash.
Yeah, no, I think so. Hopefully nobody uses gas anymore. I think we've seen a lot of that in season 2. Yes, to lose a map or forfeit the map on something like that, I think it's tough to swallow. I mean, you might be in the lead, and then all of a sudden you do something silly. I think we've published a lot of information on the website, bfclanwars.net, and also on the Discord channel and the league info and everywhere. And just keep in mind, we're there. So you can always, to the clan ambassadors, shoot the message out or shoot the message out to any of us. If you're uncertain, rather make sure ahead of time before you go into the match, because then it's too late. So let us help, so you don't get into these situations, and then you can have a fun game. Don't have to stress about too many things.
Absolutely. And obviously, Slash, you've done some good work there together with Riplets and Home Goal on also updating or making sure that all the other rules are updated for the Conquest game mode. So I saw there were some nice wording changes from, let's call it, sentences of words that the guys didn't understand completely, or maybe was worried about a little bit that it could be a confusing rule or something, and you've also made sure that that's completely cleaned up now.
Yeah, I think our English-speaking friends has reckoned that some of our wording needs some adjustment, which is fine. I mean, at the end of the day, it's better to put something out in such a way that it cannot be interpreted in multiple ways. And again, it also helps us to grow in that format where we put down stuff on paper at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thanks to the guys that made that happen, and thanks to the guys, bringing it up that they understand it this way or that way, because that's the only way we know. I mean, we read it, and in your mind it means one thing, and that's it. When you write something down.
Yeah.
But when somebody else sees it, they can interpret it. That's the thing about words. So yeah, I think we're getting closer and closer to like a final version until we hit the new season again. We start again. Depends on what Battlefield 5 throws in that we need to adjust and just update.
Yeah, I mean already, and I mean I saw the communication this week. I mean I know that you guys are already sort of looking at Battlefield 5 and call it things that are said to see if those things materialize, how it might impact the rules or go into the rules. But yeah, as I mentioned on the stream earlier this week as well, I mean there's quite a significant amount of change in the game mechanics itself with Battlefield 5. So that will obviously either add or subtract to the current rule set. But I think besides writing down the rule, I think it's also a lot about understanding how a rule will impact the gameplay, and I think that only comes unfortunately with experience. So again, we've gone through season 1, gone through season 2, we're at season 3 now, and the experience around how some of these rules actually impact the gameplay, I think that's the important thing, because that helps us to as you said, initially put down something on paper, and then it's about the interpretation and about understanding how this rule will influence the game.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, we've also got a number of guys here on the channel watching live, Yaku.
Mm-hmm.
So
any interesting comments then?
Well, I had an interesting one here from Carl saying, "Is this the right channel to roast Mad?" So,
well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should get Niku in here, and then we can try that. But Niku will roast as hard back.
No, for sure. He doesn't stand back when it comes to the clan. So
absolutely not.
Will definitely defend all forms.
So I see that Riplet's also just joined us on the live chat. So he's obviously he's at breakfast at the moment, having some breakfast there, but still listening to the show. So welcome, Rips. It's good to see you guys joining as well. And then Slash, the one other thing that I wanted to touch on, sort of before we move into the week's games and that sort of thing, is obviously the, as we explained last week as well, now for Season 3, what Scully Rebel has done is on the website he's opened a section or a blog section, and we are actually going to be using that section to do a lot of the communication in terms of, sort of what happens in the season, and if there are some critical things that we have to call out, and also just some interesting things, right? Articles and stuff like that. So Scully did open that section and did put out a request last week if there are any potential people out there that feel they have a good sense of writing or some articulating skills with the pen. I don't know what you want to call it. But he did put out that request, and there are some people that have come back. For example, one of the guys is Vandango, who said that he'll be happy to sort of write an article every now and again. But I do want to put that request out again. It is something that we want to try and do a little bit better, put some more interesting information and articles in there. And I mean, that can really be anything, right? That can be anything about the game or the community, or a interesting article about Battlefield or history or whatever may be the case. So guys, if there is somebody else out there, we are not going to limit this for the moment in terms of how many people we want for it. We pretty much testing the interest and seeing whether this is something that can take off and something that can be interesting for the community. But if you are out there and you have a reasonable writing skill, then please get in touch with Scully Rebel during the week and just make yourself known, and he'll take it from there in terms of how it is done and giving you the access rights and that sort of stuff to be able to write those articles. But I think that's a rather good idea, Slash. If you weren't so busy writing up rules and policies and that sort of stuff for us, then I reckon you would jump in and write some articles here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think it's an easy thing to do, but it's definitely a nice thing to do if you do have the time. I think there's a lot of content and a lot of things happening during the week that we don't know of, especially not being active and playing the game just from that aspect. But with all the new things coming up and things happening in the gaming scene, definitely write something if you can. From our side, we'll definitely try and stick some stuff up there as well, if time allows.
that's the golden sentence there.
Yeah, that's always the problem, man.
If time allows,
finding the time and getting the time in to write something.
Absolutely. Slash, I see there's a question there on the chat there from Devil saying, Yaku and Slash, are you doing a Royal Rumble and Captain's Clash at the end of the season again? So first of all, just to clarify, for those of you who don't know, obviously at the end of season 2, we organized a bit of a captain's match, and I don't want to say I was part of it. I was there. Let's put it that way. I don't know how much I helped the team. But it was nice. I died a lot, and some of these guys are absolutely immaculate players. So it was a fun thing to do. Slash, I don't know. I know you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it was super fun. I think I'm still hurting, and I think everybody around me that was part of my team is hurting because I was there. So so yeah. But it will definitely be fun to do this thing, and maybe we can make it, something that happens all the time at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I think everybody enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun, and it brings together, all the teams. It's sometimes I think it's tough because now you have to play with somebody who's you've got to stretch it around like me, but awesome fun. It was good.
Absolutely, and then I see that Alpha Whiskey there says there should be a couple of pickup teams that are done, once the season is over, and that'll most probably happen, right? I mean, for us now, it's the end of Battlefield 1 here on season 3, and after season 3, we will take a bit of a break as well, get our heads together around what we would like to do for the new season. And I know that Scully is on his side, chipping away at what the plans and the structures and, those sort of things for the teams could look like. So, I mean, I don't want to give anything away. I mean, it's too early for that. But some very exciting things on the table already for Battlefield 5. But, of course, this for us would be the last official league year in Season 3 on Battlefield 1. And then, that's it. Then we'll move on, right? So there will be some time between when we end season 3 and when we again pick up in Battlefield 5, with either the Battlefield 5 season 1 or season 4. I don't know. We still haven't completely decided which one we are going to go with, and we'll see what that looks like closer to the time. But there will definitely be some other stuff happening, right? Some community games, some call it odd weekends that we pick up here and there for some matches or challenges or that sort of thing. But obviously the league as it is, season 3 will be the last for us on Battlefield 1. So Slash, I don't know if you have a comment around that specific statement in terms of there will be some other stuff happening after the season.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very sad when you say it will be the end. But like everything it's got to come to an end, and it doesn't mean it's bad. I think it's actually good because it lends us to experience something new. But I think from keeping just everybody together, and we will definitely try and put some stuff together. If you guys have some interesting thoughts on, in between the seasons and 5 starting, hit us up and let us know what your thoughts are, and we'll put some stuff together, gameplays and some matches and so on, whatever we can muster, but also taking a break at the end of the day. I mean, getting to the end of the year, everybody is getting busier from the real life perspective. I wish I can say I game for life, but I don't. and I'm sure everybody else out there as well. It's for fun. But yeah, let us know.
Absolutely. And then of course, come Battlefield 5, there are some clans obviously that are not participating at the moment, that have either skipped a season or forfeited because of a rule or something of that nature. Come the new season in Battlefield 5, most the rules as they stand today will allow most of those teams to play again. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sorry guys, just give me 1 second. It is also getting winter, and I can feel that in my throat this morning. So apologies for that. So that's it. That's what I had on my list. Slash, I don't know if there's anything that I sort of missed out, or something that I had to still call out from what happened on the social side of the community this week.
Yeah, maybe just saying thanks to the guys for this week. I mean, we had a bit of a chat last week about cards and things for not listing or putting in fixtures and these kind of things. And I think this week everybody we got it spot on and 100%, if I'm not mistaken. That was the word, I think, from Homegirl and Riplets. So thanks for that. It makes it a lot easier on the admin side for the guys.
No yellows this week?
No yellows this week, so far as I've seen from them. I think on Friday that they listed. So everybody submitted their fixtures. So yeah, that's awesome.
Well, that's
and I'm sure they'll appreciate it. I mean, they at the end of the day are the guys now who's putting in that effort, and then bringing it to life on the website, so that everybody can see who's where and what's happening and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that's great news, right? I mean, that just makes the admin side of things a lot better.
Way better, and you can chill as you go into the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. So good point. I think there was something nice to call out. I mean, we always call out when the guys are getting yellow cards, so I reckon it's okay calling out when they're not, and actually it's a good thing.
for sure. Yeah, some positive comment on the negative of the card. I mean, absolutely. I think everybody understands the yellow is not there to dish out frequently. It's just to maintain order.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially with some of our more illustrious clans, order is not always an easy thing to maintain, right? So but we try.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, there's a lot of, let's just call them a colorful bunch in every clan.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes the clans fun as well.
But that's what makes the game fun as well, right? Is the colorfulness of, not everybody works the same and does the same thing. And I mean, Slash, we have literally hundreds of conversations every week. And sometimes you get to chat to people that you either have never chatted to before and realize that this is an interesting person, and other guys you chat to all the time, knowing that they're interesting people. So
Sure.
That's the difference, right? Anyway, right. So your list is done, my list is done, and I think it's time we can get onto the tables for the week, and I think we should get onto that. So. Moving on to the first tables, and that is the Clan Wars T12 or the Premier League tables. And very interesting this week. You'll see that there's a couple of games that have been added to that because of the games that were rescheduled from last week. And just to recap, the games that was affected this week by the server crashes, and I'm actually going to handle them division by division. So in Division 1, it was the WTF versus MSNK game that was affected, as well as the LGD versus Red game. Now, the interesting thing here is last week, the same game was affected for WTF versus MSNK. And then when they rescheduled it last week, when they wanted to play this week, they were affected again. So I'm going to blame those two teams at the moment for the server crash, because that is the only constant at the moment. So maybe we should just settle on, either both teams won or both teams lost, and then, everybody else can get to play, right?
Yeah, I'm sure the monkeys will have something to say about that. But,
yeah, of course, I'm just kidding, right? I'm just joking around. But that is actually something. That's now a week 1 game that will now effectively, because of the crashes, have to be rescheduled for week 3, right? So, like I said earlier, the admin around these things are difficult when server crashes and things happen, because we have to keep track of these games, right? But those were the. Yeah, sorry, let's carry on.
No. But that's how we roll with punches, eh? What can you do?
Absolutely. And again, the guys are very accommodating. They are, bringing it back and scheduling it and that sort of thing. But in any event, those are the 2 games in Division 1 that was affected by the servers. At the moment, though, the 4 teams up there, sort of in the leading positions is. The Monkeys, LGD, Red, and Mad. The Monkeys, obviously, and LGD in a very good position with their 3 points, having only played 1 game each. We are in week 2 at the moment, and of course that we're talking about those 2 games that had to be rescheduled. Then, of course, Mad in there, they've already played 2 games on 3 points, and then Red still has an opportunity there because they've also only played 1 game and they're on 3 points. So those are the 4 teams sort of battling it out in the point standing at the top at the moment. The other teams in there, of course, 4Q first and then WTF. Then in Division 2, the teams there in good positions at the moment, CTK, having played 2 games on 6 points. Raw is up there, played 2 games with their 3 points, and then THC also on the 3 points, having played only 1 game. So there's an opportunity there for THC, of course, to also bump up, on the table. And then in Division 3, we have S187. They've played 2 and they're on their 6 points. Right below them, we have Lots who's only played 1 game but on 3 points. And of course, they are sharing that 3 points with UB and Raki, both on 3 points as well. So again, it's early days. It's tough talking about the tables, this early in the season because, from what we've seen in season 1 and 2, I mean, the amount of shifting, that can happen during a season is a lot, right? I mean, you have teams that are brilliant, but then they, forfeit the game or lose the game because of infringements or rules or something like that. Or because of yellow card or red card deduction in points and, that sort of stuff, right? So, the tables shift all the time. So it's a little bit hard in the beginning because there's, we talk about 1 or 2 or 3 games being played. But definitely at the moment, obviously, the early, let's call them the early risers are there, right, Slash?
No, for sure. Maybe just say here to the CTK guys, take a picture of that standing, and make it your aim. It's I know it's early, but that's good. I mean, for a team who's always been here in the middle to the end of the log to be right on top.
Yeah.
In a league, it means they've come a long way. So kudos to them. Good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then of course, they're in Division 2. There were 2 games affected there as well, which was the game between Royal versus VTRN. and then of course the THC versus Sons of Anarchy as well. So I mean, I feel a little bit bad for Royal, to be honest, because of course in week 1 they were affected by the server, so they didn't play a game. Well, actually, no, that's not the truth. In week 1 they had a bye week,
Yes.
so they didn't play a game, and then now in week 2 they got affected by the server. So effectively on the table they've played 0 games, and we are going on to week 3. So you know, these guys are burning up to play, and they're just not getting to do it right.
What can we say? A very interesting start to the season, but yeah, hopefully going forward we've got less of these outages, problems, and hiccups, and the guys can compete actively.
Absolutely. And then, of course, in Division 3, the only game that was affected was the game between ITF and Lots. That was the game that couldn't be played because of the crash. So those are also the games that will be, sort of rescheduled. And I do actually have confirmation from the team as well, from Homegirl and Monster, that there was indeed no yellow cards this week. So, very well done. That is a very good achievement, actually.
Yeah, excellent.
Right. Slash, I don't know if you if there's anything that I missed on these tables or that you still wanted to call out. I think that in general, I think at the moment it's going rather well, considering that there was 1 or 2 crashes and some games that had to be rescheduled. But I think the tables are looking really good. There are some surprise elements here because of the shifts in divisions and that sort of stuff that could still happen. As I said, it's the beginning of the season, so it's a long way to go, and there's bound to be some shifts here. But I don't know if there's anything that I missed.
No, I think you've hit it all on the head. So let's see how it pans out next week. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about.
Absolutely. Right, moving on to the T5 tables then. So also very interesting. I mean, there's a couple of games here that was affected. The upside though with the T5s is that because it's a smaller group of people, it's easier to reschedule these, right? And what I've seen with the T5s, and we even saw it last week, is that those guys that got affected pretty much either played later that same day or the very next day. Just because it's a lot easier getting people sort of together. I mean, it's a lot easier getting 5 guys together on a server than it is getting 12 guys, right? So while these games, or while the T5 is also affected, it's a lot easier to sort of come back from it and get the game going again, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. There's up. So yeah, maybe just run through who was affected here, Jaco.
Yeah, so I think we'll do that sort of by pool if I can. But I mean, looking at the pools, and sorry guys, the way that this screen works that you are looking at now is it works left to right, reading top to bottom. So you will have on your left hand side, effectively you will have pool 1, pool 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and pool 5. So pool 1, pool 3, and pool 5 is on your left, and the other guys are on the right. So you read it as the top left hand table will be pool 1, and the bottom right hand table will be pool 6. So that's the way that you can read the different pools. So looking at pool 1 there, obviously at the moment, not somebody at the top as yet. We have MRU, the Dead Rabbits, and then LGD Acid, all of them there on 3 points. However, LGD and MRU have both only played 1 game, so there's obviously movement that will happen there. Looking at pool 2 at the moment, we have Red, Destruction, and OSB on the top of their pool. They with 6, 4, and 3 points. Obviously, Red and Destruction have played. All 3 of them have played their 2 games. So impressive for me to see Red there, at the top of their pool there, in a very strong pool. I mean, Destruction is there as well. Looking at Pool 3, we have Mob sitting on 6, and then of course we have Killers and Royal. They're each on 3 points. But again, they both Killers as well as Royal have only it's only Killers. Killers have played 1 game. Both Royal and Mob have played their 2 games there, so there will be some movement there as well. Then we have the Royal Crowns in Pool 4 on their 6 points, and Mayhem and THC, they're both on 3. Of course, their Mayhem has only played their 1 game, and they are sharing that 3 points there with THC. That's Pool 4. Pool 5, DPS at the top with 6 points. MRU and Raki have their 3 points there. But of course, Raki has only played 1 game, so they still need to go through that cycle. And then in Pool 6, we have MSMK and SNLV. They're on 6 and 3 points. Of course, SNLV only played that 1 game, and that was actually the 1 game that we managed to watch this week.
Yeah.
The SNLV versus Gig game, and of course SNLV, did not take the win there. Gig actually took the win, and I just noticed here that result actually was only finalized last night, and that still needs to be updated on the table here actually. Because Gig did have that game and they did actually take the win. So that will actually put them at 3 points. So that will be right underneath SNLV. But of course, only having played 1 game, they might actually go into position 2 then in next week's table. So we'll have a look at that and just update that scoring. Again, I know that was only finalized last night because there was some discrepancies that needed to be sorted out. But that will be updated on the table then for next week. But that's only in Pool 6. So that's a bit of a mouthful /
It is a mouthful. It's a lot of teams playing in here. But I think it's all good. I mean, excellent game between SNLV. I mean, we watched that one and broadcasted that one. And I can definitely say in that one I was surprised. That the score, SNLV played a good game, but that Gig gave them, a bit of hiding, unfortunately, for them on that one.
Yeah, look, I mean, the guys never sort of, laid down. It was a really, really good game to watch, very, very entertaining as well. But yes, there was a bit of a score difference. I think it was at most, I think it was about 50 tickets. But it was a good game to watch.
Yeah, correct. I mean, Gig had a fantastic strategy, and they stuck through it the entire game. And I think that also gives any team the confidence, I believe, in this. He's capturing the first 2 flags. I mean, every game they played, they captured the first 2 flags first.
Yeah.
And that just gives you a boost automatically. But yeah, SNLV never just stopped playing the game, and they gave them a run for their money, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then of course the thing with that game is that there was 1 or 2 infringements that we had to sort out, and that's of course what led to my earlier comment about the weapons list. Guys, so just again, if you are joining us this morning, thank you very much for joining. If you are already subscribed to the channel, that's great. If you are not, please hit that little subscribe button. Also remember to hit the little bell to get your notifications whenever we go online. We do say rather important things here on the recap show on the weekend, and one of them is that the weapon list is there. It's available on the website. And if you don't know where that is on www.bfclanwars.net, and you will find the weapons list under the section called News, under the menu item or menu bracket called Clan Wars. And that is a list that was put together specifically around allowed and disallowed weapons for the DLCs and that sort of thing. So please go and check it out. Again, I think it's a bit of a silly mistake to make having a map forfeited or your team lose or whatever because of playing with a weapon that's not allowed, right? So please go and check that out and just familiarize yourself. So
Yeah, no, for sure.
So
guys, there's some guys sitting also quite high on the yellows, so we would hate to deduct points.
Yes.
On these kind of games, and it will actually be the first season if we do. So try and stick to those basic rules, guys.
Slash, you wanna recap for the guys how the yellow card system works?
Sorry, Jaco, I lost you there for a second.
You want to recap for the guys how the yellow card system works?
Well, yeah, basically, I mean, you get the 3 yellows, and then after that you get a red. So when you get a red, it's 5 points that you. Sorry, it's 3 points that you lose on the game. So I mean, that's a lot of points. So it can really, really negatively impact where you sit on the standings. To lose that amount of points.
Absolutely, I agree. And then, of course, that the things we give yellow cards for, that's of course also listed on the rules, right? But again, I mean, a lot of guys think that we dish out the yellows because it's fun. It's not. We don't like doing it. But the yellows are, as Slash said earlier in the show, the yellows are there to, just sort of govern the admin process, really. And to help us around, little sportsmanship, rulings that we have to make. Are you on time? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? Are you capturing the fixtures? Are you organizing the games? That sort of stuff. So yeah, I mean, there is 2 clans there that are quite high up on the yellows, and we would hate to give that red away. As Slash also rightfully said, we've never actually given a red. Well, we've given a red once in season 2, but that was for a specific thing. But in terms of regular gameplay, we haven't actually. Nobody's ever gotten to the point where they've got 3 yellows and then a red. So let's try and not make it the first season that happens, right?
For sure. Yeah. No. I hopefully, I really hope we don't see it. I think it's going to be a topic of discussion, and Discord will probably be lit. But
absolutely.
Yeah. As we said again, we hate giving these things, but hopefully people learn.
Yep. Now, Slash, before I move back onto the other screen, is there anything about these tables you still want to call out? I think from my side, I think in Pool 1, the Dead Rabbits is interesting for me because they're a brand new T5 team. Of course, they've been, the bigger team has been around in T12, but they're a new T5 team. I think in Pool 2, for me, Red is interesting there because I expected Destruction to actually be on top in this pool, and Red is impressing there at the moment. Same thing here in Pool 3, we have Mob and the Killers. Also 2 new teams there at the top. Then of course I'm keeping my eye out for L in Pool 4, but they've only played 1 game, so we'll see how their season progresses. I think interesting for me in Pool 5, probably DPS there, and then of course there's going to be a bit of a battle going on in Pool 6 because that is a very, very strong pool with the Monkeys, SNLV, Gig in there. And then of course we have a new team, Native, and of course we have WTF there as well. So anything interesting there, Slash, for you?
Yeah, I think you've hit them all on the head. I mean, definitely for me, Pool 3, Mob sitting on top as a new team. And I think they've got a strong 5-a-side play. So hopefully when we get to the end and we get to semi-finals and finals, we can see all these some of these newer teams also pitching up there and showing their skills.
Yep, absolutely. There we go. So that was the tables for the week. So it was a busy week. We had some crashes, we had some admin stuff, we had some games being played, we streamed a couple of games, we had the recap show this morning, so it doesn't let up, right? But we get there.
Yeah.
So guys, then again from my side, I mean, there's just a couple of the highlights. Again, we spoke about it at length this morning, but please go and check out the weapon list that's available on the website. That's at www.bfclanwars.net. From my side, if there are guys that are interested in streaming or that want to get into the streaming and do some streams, or even if you don't want to do a game stream, if you want to just get into streaming, I'm always happy to help with that. So please get in contact with me, and we can see what we can do there. From Scully's side, the request there was to get in touch with him if you are an aspiring writer. He has set up the website blog section for us, and we will be allowing some people access to write up articles and blogs and things there. So if you are that aspiring writer and you think you would like to do something like that to get your name out in the community as well, please get in touch with Scully Rebel during the week, and let him know that you are such a person. So that will be good. And then I'm not going to give Slash's request out, but Slash's request, as always, is don't get yellow cards. Just play along, do your admin.
Yeah.
So, Slash, from your side, any last words?
Yeah, I just think keep communicating. There's a lot more of us that you can speak to. All the ambassadors are there to speak to. But number one is have fun, and good luck to the games next week.
Yeah, let's hope there's not any crashes going on, right?
For sure.
Absolutely. Guys, then from my side, Slash, thank you very much for joining me again. You do sound like you were up a lot earlier this morning, and like you are finding the 9 o'clock this morning not so 9 o'clock as usual. So that was great. Thank you very much for joining me again on the stream. Guys, as always, keep watching the communication, the Facebook page, Discord, that sort of thing. Anything that comes up, we will put out there. If we do realize that there's any issues with the servers or anything like that, we do try and put out the information as well. But yeah, exciting week ahead. We are going into week 3 of what should be a 8 or a 9 week season. So still a lot of things that need to happen, a lot of games that need to be played. But it's exciting, and it's always exciting, and we will catch you guys on a stream later this week, hopefully for some of these games. And then of course we will be back next week Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning for your regular weekly Battlefield Clan Wars recap show. From my side, that is all that we had this morning. Thank you very much for joining us. If you are subscribed, that's great. If you are not, please hit that little subscribe button. Also hit the little bell to get your notifications whenever we go online. But that is what we had. I'm Yakusao for Battle Bros. See you on the battlefield.